it's your boy Red1 from the legendary Rascalz crew, DJ Kemo, and yo, we love hip hop.
Oh shit. It's crazy because I remember I used to watch this music video on Much Music. Like, yo, I gotta fucking get on this station first. And I gotta meet these motherfuckers right here. Cause the dude, the Dred, both of them. But the Dred was like, yo, what the fuck? This guy, lyrical monster, fam. You know what I'm saying? So
that, brother.
I have the special honor here. Big salute to all the people in the viewing audience, all the people who are watching on YouTube, all that, you know, smash the like button, all that good shit. Back here at the Visionary Arts Center. But we have here today Juno Award winning.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? Doer of multiple tours.
Hey.
Seller of multiple records. And viewee of multiple music videos. You know what I'm saying?
And he still got it on the stage.
Holy.
Still got it.
Well, for the people who are in the viewing audience who are like, holy shit, I lie. We have the Rascalz in the motherfucking building.
G.
Red1 and DJ Kemo.
G.
Hey.
Yeah, what's up, everybody out there?
Van City in the building.
Holy fuck. Hold on, I'm late with my sound effects today. I'm sorry, man. We're in a different part of the studio here. Hold on.
I got to switch it up for the man, them, man.
Sound effects coming.
I don't know.
Oh, Lee, try to def off.
I know, it's a little loud. Okay, so guys, we're coming, I guess, kind of out of a pandemic or something like that, right?
Yeah.
How has it been for the last 2 years for you guys, man? Because like we got to see y'all performing your touring acts.
Mm-hmm.
So how's it been for the last 2 years?
Well, we've been, it's just been just how it's been for everybody. Just we just been in the crib chilling, waiting for all this shit to pass. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, now that they've lifted up some of these sanctions they put on us, just kind of getting back out there a little bit, doing blessing the stage here and there. We got another show. We just did a show. You guys were at Phoenix Nightclub with Cardinal, Julie Black, Choclair, Maestro, Socrates, some of the Canadian legends out there. It was a dope time. And I think next we're going to Vancouver we're doing a festival called Safe and Sound Festival. I think it's on the 29th of May. And yeah, that's featuring Ty Dolla $ign and a bunch of other acts.
Wow. Okay. You want to shoot before I shoot?
Well, I was just thinking because you said Ty Dolla $ign. Who's like the biggest artist for you that you performed?
I was just thinking the same fucking thing. Yeah.
That for me that I performed.
Yeah, that you were just like kind of like starstruck and you're like, yo, that's so and so.
That's an easy one. I would say definitely Barrington Levy, Gangstar, and EPMD.
Well, you didn't just see Barrington. That's a little bit different. You got a motherfucking feature with homie. Like, we're gonna get into that, but like,
this guy left out a legendary show with KRS.
Wow.
We did Montreal and we did here in Toronto. Both those shows were nuts.
Yes. I forgot about that show.
Okay, so
there's been a lot, man.
Yeah.
We've rocked with a lot of people who we looked up to. Most of the cats that we came up, like, geeking about their music and knowing every word to their songs, like, Smith & Wesson, Black Moon,
wasn't there Caravana?
Wu-Tang.
Wasn't there Caravana? We opened for Beat Nuts and then P. Diddy and the Fam and shit.
Wow.
Leaders of the New School, Tribe. We've done like, did we do the Cypress Hill show? We did Funk Dubious.
That's funny because we were playing Cypress Hill on top of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Souls of Mischief.
We were talking about Souls of Mischief after the show.
Yeah.
Common Sense.
Nah, man, we're blessed.
Hold on, were you on the same show with Souls of Mischief and Too Short?
They were touring back in like 93.
No, we were on tour with Souls of Mischief. We toured Europe with Souls of Mischief. Yeah, like literally, and we've been lucky in that sense. Like I would say 90% of the groups that we listened to and really took to heart, we've had a chance to
meet in person.
We've done shows with them, tours with them. Like, You know what I mean? So we've been really blessed in that aspect.
The Wu-Tang one at Macombo, wasn't it?
Holy fuck.
Wu-Tang?
No,
Wu-Tang
it was Gravediggers.
Holy
Diggers
shit.
Man,
R.I.P.
this guy's
El
bringing it
Macombo.
back.
R.I.P. One of the Gravediggers passed away too. I remember that too.
think
Yeah,
so.
R.I.P. to whoever. The name escapes me. So, okay, let's jump around on the tour for a second then before we even get to the history and stuff. What's one person that you met and you were like, kind of like fanned out? Because, you know, after a while you start getting used to, okay, we're going to be touring with this person, but you're like, holy shit, I'm getting to meet this person? Whoa. And then I have a follow-up to that.
That's a tough one. Definitely KRS-One would have been one of those people. And
Yeah, man, because he invited us to New York and to do a collabo. So he took us around
and
like,
to be in his video.
he took
Crazy.
us around Harlem in his Mercedes. I remember he pulled up to a spot, got his weed, and then went to the
that's dope.
studio. And
Mhm.
yeah, man, it was
That's
a real
dope.
trip.
Okay.
Yeah, that's I'd have to actually sit back and think about that one because again, like the Rascalz, we were real students and fans of hip hop. Like our crew, we had every element of hip hop. We had the DJ producer, we had the MCs, we had the B-boys.
The dancers.
One of our dancers had a graffiti crew called AA crew.
For real, eh?
So we had the graffiti, like, yeah, Really Living. That album cover, no, not Really Living. Cash Crop. That album cover is him and his crew. They did like a
20-foot, yeah.
that was like 50-foot wall. That thing was massive, like
25.
as bigger than that wall in front of us. They just did that whole mural.
Yeah.
And we just took a picture of it.
This picture right here, while I'm looking at my laptop. Yeah.
So we did that and just made it. That's a picture of a 50,
That's a mural.
70-foot wall on a mural.
Wow. So I'm going to put that up on the screen one after. That's dope. I didn't know that.
So, you know, like being a real student and a fan of hip hop, the culture, the music, the everything, I would say like, and coming from Vancouver, like, it's like we're way out in the West, the Northwest. And it's not like we're in Toronto where it's a hop, jump, and a skip to New York, Detroit, all these other, like we were just in our own bubble, in our zone.
That's
So
the pic. You can grab it from my Facebook.
So
I'm
getting,
going to go on your Facebook and grab that.
yeah, having
Thank you, Kemo.
having a chance to just you know, just meet these artists. Like when Souls of Mischief came out, like we were big Souls fans. And to be able to jump on stage with them, and so, you know, even when we were touring across Europe with Common Sense, like we toured like 20 something countries with Common, like
Crazy.
you know, like, and it's always just been, yeah, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
there's never been a situation where I've never been like, I can't believe this is happening. Because yeah, you do get used to being in the rooms with, you know, certain people. But again, it's just like, we were just a bunch of friends that just had a love and a passion for something.
Mhm.
We were able to grow it into this entity, this thing. And that
A
took
business,
us all
yeah.
over the world, and that put us in the room with an array
Everybody.
of people that we were fans of, and you know, we were able to make money and, you know, win awards and do certain things. And like, you dream about this stuff, but like,
Yeah, I really did it.
you know, when it's happening, it's surreal. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. You're like, wait a minute. You got to pinch yourself for a second. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, can you take us back? Because how did you all link?
Mm-hmm.
And then how did you get the name Rascalz? Because I'm assuming that you guys were all some young, wild boys back in the day. But yeah, how did all y'all link?
Well, we went to the same high school, and at first, before we were a rap group, we were all dancers. So we were all
Okay.
just b-boys and stuff like that. So
Makes
we,
sense for a question I have later. Makes sense.
Yeah, so we would just be going to these. Back then, we were in high school and we couldn't get into the clubs and stuff. So they would have like a band. They would be throwing. They would
Teen
always
dance.
be underage dances and parties, and we'd go there and
The all ages jams.
all ages jam, and we'd be dancing and battling and doing our thing. So we actually started off as like Fit was in a different crew than we were in, and we would just show up at parties and we'd just be battling them. And then you just kind of connect because you guys, you know, you respect them for their skill, and you guys have the same interests, and you guys are always seeing each other and always going at it, and you kind of this bond kind of, you know, after a while, and then you start hanging out outside of dances and outside of the parties, and just kind of that friendship builds. So that's really how it started.
That's dope. That's dope.
And
the name originally was Ragamuffin Rascals.
Okay.
We always had that dancehall influence.
Yeah, because we was always into the dance hall as much as we were into the hip hop. So we kind of, you know, especially me being from the Caribbean, I kind of always wanted to have a little bit of that Caribbean aspect in the name and in the vibe and in the music. My man being from Chile, and you know, we just.
And Misfit talked the other that ragamuffin. I get Misfit say that ragamuffin's gotta go, but
no, because we at the time I think the reason was a lot of the groups was just coming out with one names, so we were like, nah, Ragamuffin Rascals are too long. We just gotta come with one name, Ragamuffin or just Rascals, or like we just need one name that let them know. You know what I mean? So.
Do you ever get any copyright issues like with like the show The Rascals or anything like that, and you had to like put the Z instead of the S type of thing, or it was always Z?
No, the Z was just a choice to make it different, but it had nothing to do with copyright. But it probably was a good thing.
Good choice.
You know, there was a group, the Young Rascals, like from back in the day, like, and then there was the Latin Rascals that were out before us. Like, we weren't even aware. We were just like,
and we never tried to. We weren't looking at the Rascals like, you know, Spanky and Alfalfa and them guys. Like we weren't like that didn't even come into play when we just wanted a name that kind of just showed that how we were just rambunctious and just, you know, ragamuffin with it, and just what's a word that kind of.
Wait, hold on. Just to add to the list, there was the Wascals.
The Wascals?
Wow.
That was one of the names that you guys had?
No.
There's all
these
the
groups that
different.
came out at the same time.
Group.
Around the same time we're busting out.
I'm wondering,
Rascals from the LA, and then there was the Rotten Rascals that were signed to like Naughty by Nature.
I'm wondering what would have
I
happened.
remember those guys.
What would have happened if you guys picked ragamuffin? Would it still worked out the same? Yeah, I think it would have still worked out the same if
the music would have been exactly the same. So I would like to think it would have been the same results.
Ragamuffins.
The same way, you know, Alcoholics eventually changed to the licks. You know what I'm saying? Like Alcoholics, they're just shorten it or something.
Yeah. So even like Vancouver back in like when you guys were growing up, right? Because we've talked to so many Toronto artists and even like Toronto legends and stuff like that. But like, what was Vancouver like back in the 90s and stuff? You know what I mean? And explain Vancouver culture even like from the 90s to even now, like the melting pot, like how it is. Is it like a hot crime scene? Is it like kind of like here? Like we're on the outside, you know what I'm saying?
Well, to talk about the first part of the question which is what
in
was
the
Vancouver
90s.
like back in the 90s? It was like, you know, it was a small community of cats that was actually doing it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like hip hop was like a really small circle of cats. And, you know, we had like, you know, Craig Crush and we had EQ and we, like how I was saying earlier, like, you know, Toronto was like a hop, jump, and a skip away from New York.
Yeah.
Vancouver was a hop, jump, and a skip away from Seattle.
Yeah.
So we would have a lot of artists coming over from Seattle and bringing over like our kind of influence and vibe from America was more Seattle based.
West Coast style.
West Coast.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, hip hop was there from like, you know, from when breakdancing jumped off in '84. I recall there was a huge there was like a breakdance contest, which a lot of, like you were saying, like Seattle dancers would come up and compete in this thing. So hip hop's been there, but it's just obviously a smaller community. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What was it called? It was at UBC. They had this yearly contest.
That was Sound Wars.
It was called the Sound Wars.
Sound Wars.
And literally, you would spend the whole year putting music together and, you know, crafting your art together. And you'd be talking, man, this year when Sound War comes, bro, we're just gonna go like, and it was a thing for like B-boys and then the MCs and DJs. You'd go there and you'd be like, yo, where the hell is all these rappers?
And one of the guys to first put it together that was involved in putting that together was Nardwar.
Wow. Vancouver legend.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Big up Hardwire.
Big up Hardwire.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, because I think he had a show on the radio station at the university back then.
Yeah, he had
and
like
then
a-
he took he did have the show
That's
on
where
the
he started
radio
his whole
station and
thing.
he
He
started
had
a
like
career, and then he
Right.
took a risk and he was just like,
Yeah.
you know what, fuck it.
Yeah, so he started throwing on this yearly
Crazy.
battle.
Yeah.
And-
Well, him and this other guy, Don Chow. So I
Don Chow.
think Nardwuar was helping Don put it, kind of put it all together because Nardwuar's he wasn't really into hip hop back then. Like he
Okay.
was like alternative rock and all that kind of zany shit.
Yeah. This
But
is
he
before
was-
much music time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he was just there to kind of help Don put it together. But yeah, it was a good look because we'd get dudes from down in Washington come up, try to compete. So it helped take it to a level of like talent. You know, what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
instead of just local. Vancouver, I always noticed this from when we came out here. I was like, Vancouver is much more forgiving
Mm.
than Toronto was. You know what I'm saying? For acts getting on a stage.
Yeah, there's a lot of open mics out there.
Right? Vancouver's like, yeah, you guys gave it a shot. Good on you. Where we'd come out here and it'd be like, the grills, the screw faces
Screw
we
face
get.
cap.
So it was like, we knew we had to bring it, right? We weren't trying to be comfortable with just Vancouver's.
But I would say even
You know.
from the first time one of the first times I remember performing in Toronto was this thing called Fresh Fest.
Oh, shit.
Gee, this man's bringing it back.
Yo, and I remember we performed that night, and there was like groups like Macaulay
The Macaulay Boys?
Boy. It was just like a whole bunch of from R&B singers to rappers to whatever, and we went out there, and they were like, we first walked out on stage, and I remember the equipment just no sound was coming out. And everybody in the crowd started screw facing and looking like,
Sabotage.
yo, drop a freestyle, drop it. So then, grab the mic, started spitting my raps. By the end of it, everyone's like, bip, 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 bip. And that began the I remember that was the night I first met Cardinal official. He was there.
Yo, and X was there.
And Little X was there.
Harpoon,
Director X was
Taz.
there.
Little X.
But he was a graffiti artist. back
Yeah,
then.
yeah. Because you got to be
And-
specific, not DJ X.
No, Director X.
Mm.
And like, for those who don't know, X is the guy who shoots all
That's the
Everybody.
guy.
God's Plan, Work, Rihanna, Northern Touch. Like X is the guy. If you from Toronto, if you're trying to get your video shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, that began the legend, the story of. I wouldn't even say the legend. That began the journey.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
And with Vancouver, it's like a melting pot, right? Like there's a lot of like, I think correct me if I'm wrong, 50% Asian community, right?
It's close to that. Yeah,
Like
it's
maybe
up
40 to 50%.
I would say between
less.
the Indians and the Asians, you can say 50%.
Definitely.
Right?
So 50% Indians and Asians, and then the other 50% is like a melting pot of every and
Yes.
anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like,
No, enough Asians though. Vietnamese, Chinese.
Sorry, in the mic.
Oh yeah, enough Asians. Vietnamese, Chinese, you name it. Cambodia, Filipino, like yeah.
yeah, that's the thing. That's the dope thing. I think about it
It's
because
just
like,
there is the shortage of Caribbean and Latin American.
well, not. I don't think there's a shortage. I just think
Oh,
that
definitely.
you know, between the Indians and the Asians, it's such a big demographic of people. And
Mhm.
all the other cultures, it might seem like there's a shortage, but if you go to Van now,
it's different. now.
you'll be like, yo, where all these black people come from? Where all these black people come from? Like, you know, Vancouver's
Hey.
since back in those days, even before I was doing hip hop, there was always a Caribbean festival.
You're right.
Like while I was in elementary school, you know, they had that. They always had the Latin festival. These are even before our time. So
Mhm.
you know that culture has always been in Van.
It's been an influence. Yeah.
Yeah, so you know, and the thing as far as like the culture in Van, I think people in Vancouver are a bit more like I don't want to use the word they're a bit more, and I don't want to use the word students or nerdy, but they're just focused more on like the aspects of hip hop.
Mhm.
It was like out there was like always a gang of graffiti crews, a gang of break crews,
Yeah.
a gang of rappers, a gang of DJs. Like everybody was always just like they was embracing
4 elements.
They would
Yeah.
embrace all the elements of
Yeah.
hip hop. Some cities you go to, it's like the rappers and the DJs only.
Yeah.
Nobody can name who the graffiti artists are
Yeah.
or who the b-boys are. They can just name the MCs and the DJs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But Vancouver was a place where you get love for being a graffiti artist.
Yeah.
You get love for being a b-boy. You know what I'm saying? So I always appreciated that aspect of Vancouver.
Everybody gets what they call now clout from all of those different places.
Right.
Parts, you know what I'm saying?
Facts. So
Um,
I think that was the one difference in Van versus when we went to other places. It was more like that's kind of how it is in Europe. So Van was more like kind of how like we go to Sweden and Germany and all those other places, and it was like the b-boys and the graffiti artists and the other aspects of the culture were getting their clout, just like the MCs and DJs. You know what I mean? So yeah.
And Dred Fist of the North Star, you had something for them.
Yeah. How many takes did it take to make you do that front flip? At the beginning of the music video.
I did it on first try.
So why did they rewind it? They should have had that instead
No,
of having
they-
a rewind.
I think he wanted to play it backwards. See, the thing with
Yeah.
that video, like we were trying to, that's directed by a guy named Cliff Skelton, and we were trying to come kind of different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was.
So like we had stairs laying down on the ground, and I'm just running across the
up the
stairs to make it look like, you know, we're shooting me across in an arrow, and we're taking the footage, and we're trying to double it to make it look like one. And our whole thing is like we were smoking a lot of chronic back then. And everybody like Far Side and all these other guys, they were coming with all these like, tripped out videos back then.
Drop video came out around that time.
You know what I mean? So we were trying to, we gonna trip you out too. Like we wanted, you know, the fish islands, and we wanted the this and the that. And so yeah, we were just trying to, you know, just be obscure with it as we were trying to be with our music. Like this guy was sampling, we were making beats. This guy would sample whale noises and would sample like we were just hunting for like sounds and beats. We were trying to find the most obscure shit that we could find, just so that
It could be totally
we had
different
our
from the
own
rest.
sound, our own vibes, and we were trying to, you know, relay that through our visuals also.
Were you guys signed at that time?
Yeah, we got signed quite early. Like we made
How long did it take you guys as an artist together to get signed? Like how long were you guys making music?
well, we got signed locally to this thing called to this guy named Michael Morty. He had a local
Yeah, it was
Figure
like an
Four.
independent thing. I swear
before Figure Four. It's called Calabash Records.
he was this African dude that lived in the
Yeah.
city, and I swear to God, I don't know for a fact, but I'm pretty sure he was the first guy to figure out like how to get grants.
Okay.
Right. So
nice.
he wanted to do a compilation, and he had a bunch of bands come perform and try out to get on this compilation. And we showed up with our crew. We had a little mob of like 10, 12 guys. And he was just feeling the whole vibe. He's like, yo, I'm going to make you guys your own album. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how the jump off. You know?
So from that first audition, we left there with him telling us he wants to sign us and us to do our own album. And everybody else who he liked from the audition, he was like, yeah, I'm going to do a compilation and you guys can put a song on each. So we left there thinking like, yo, we got a record deal and blah, blah, blah. So he started, so we started just making music with him and working on our record. And that's our first record that we put out. It was called The Ragamuffin Rascalz.
Okay.
And if you ever heard the song Really Living, there's 2 versions of that song. Because eventually we did that record with him, and he
secured like a license deal with Sony.
he came to Toronto and
They're like-
with that record.
Yeah, they're like, yo, they want to put out this album. And by that point, it was what, 6 months or more?
About 6
Or a
months.
year.
But what happened was when we were mixing, so we had our own studio. What was that studio called in
Midi City.
It was called Midi City.
Okay.
So we would go there and we would record all our music and do all our writing and stuff. Like he'd be literally making a beat. While he's making the beat, we're sitting there writing the lyrics. By the time he's finished, we're finished. We're going in the booth, rap, do our lay down our shit, and that was it. Come back the next time and build another song. So
making
when we were
demos.
done the song and it was time to mix the album, the speakers weren't working. So he had to mix the whole album with some headphones on. So they sounded good in the headphones, but by the time
What it was this guy secured like a thing with Sony 6 months or maybe 8 months later, and we're like, yo, that material's trash.
no, but I'm trying to tell him how. So sonically, that record, if you played it loud, it just wasn't sonically there. So
all
now
over the place.
he
but
takes that
even the beats, the whole swag, you're like, I want to redo my raps,
I know.
redo the beats.
But what I'm saying is, he took that record to Toronto, and he was talking to the labels. So between the time that it took from him talking to Sony, Warner, all these different labels, trying to see if he can, then finally Sony said, yeah, we'd like it. We'd like to do something. And then, negotiating and talking back and forth. And okay, finally we'll give you. It was, some time had passed. In that time, we were still making music, sonically getting better, production-wise getting better, lyrically getting better.
Yeah.
So by the time they're like, okay, we'll put this out, that was like eons ago, right?
Yeah.
So,
a kid in his 20s, right? Like six months is a long time. We're like, yo, we're not
It
even
was
on
longer
that.
than that.
We're not even on that flex anymore.
So many different
So
records had come out.
We
Our-
re-recorded the album. Is what it is.
our
And
influence-
that's what got put
No, but
out.
what we did, we didn't ask them. We told them, okay, the sounds are a little bit off because we had to mix it in headphones. So they said, we'll give you some time to go in and
Redo the shit.
and redo that record.
Yeah.
So we went in and we did a
the whole
whole
thing.
new album. The song that they wanted to go with first was Really Living. So we had to keep that song.
Right.
So we had to. So we redid the beat, made it night and day, 10 times better.
You guys are crazy. man.
Redid the lyrics, put the song out, but then the rest of the album is a whole different. That's
No,
why there's
that first album is just a demo.
Real
Basic,
Rascalz
really.
shit.
yeah.
So
So,
if
that
you-
Ragamuffin Rascalz,
If you could find that cassette or CD, you're lucky. You know what I mean?
it's actually worth some money.
It's just
Wow.
It's just
NFT
a
that
shitty,
bad boy.
It's just like, to us, it's like our shitty demo.
Listen, I'm sure somebody in the audience is gonna be like, "Yo, I have that."
Yo, weren't you telling me you saw it selling online somewhere for how much? Like,
$300.
Another question I wanted to
you know
ask
what
you.
I'm saying? So if you can find that, you could get $300.
Yeah.
Another question I want to ask you. You still rock with the Junos? Because I remember back then when you guys won your first Junos, there was a protest going on with that. So I don't know if you want to tell the people, a lot of young folks watch the show and, they grow up maybe like, yo, I want to go to the Junos. But you guys, like, at the time, first group to win a rap award, but they kind of dealt with you guys rough still.
Right. So back then, how the Junos would do it, it was a Saturday night gala, and the Sunday night was where they had it on television and they'd air and, give out awards on the TV. So back then, for when we won, they were like, we were gonna get ours on the Saturday night, the gala, and no hip hop, R&B, reggae, dance, nothing, no urban music at all was being shown love on the Sunday.
Right.
It was all being done on the Saturday. But at this time, urban music had taken over from, I think it was rock or heavy metal that was the number one selling genre back then. And hip hop had just come up like and exploded. It was like the biggest thing. So we felt like
97.
we felt like for a national award to be representing what's going on nationally in Canada, hip hop has taken over the spots from all of these genres, and music is music. And it's all one love to me. Like I listen to everything from rock to country to whatever. So I'm not saying one brand is more important than the other.
Yeah.
But you have to represent what's actually going on
And recognize.
Facts.
and recognize what's actually happening in real time
Yeah.
to be a relevant national award. So at the time, we were just like, look, man, they can't be dealing with hip hop like this, man. Like, so, we were in a position where we were just fresh to the industry. We didn't really know if we just got signed. We weren't used to this corporate side of and the business side of things. We were just used to we were b-boys and DJs and MCs and graffiti artists. Like we were just on some like underground shit. So we really didn't care about that side of
The
things
award
too
shit.
much. So we were like, yo, man, you know, this award ain't really represent what's going on. So like, you know, we should turn it down. We never really saw it at the time as we're taking a stance.
Yeah.
We just saw it as like, this ain't it. Like, you know what I mean? So I remember having a conversation like, what happens if the label drops us over, we get blackballed or whatever? But we were just like, whatever, because we still had that underground mentality. You know what I'm saying? So we was just like, all right, you know what? This ain't representing what's happening in hip hop and what's happening out there in real time in the world. So
Yeah.
you know, we'll politely decline and appreciate, you know, the acknowledgement, but you know, until you guys decide that, you know, you really want what's actually happening out there to be a part of what's going on in here, then we'll just fall back.
And that was before or after Northern Touch?
That was before Northern Touch.
And you guys were like, made a good decision.
That became a thing. A bunch of newspapers picked it up, and media, and it was like a thing. And like, it was during while that was going on is kind of where we kind of saw how big and the bigger picture of it. Because, you know, there's always been reggae artists, R&B artists, hip hop artists, you know, dance artists, just urban music artists doing their thing in Canada and never really getting the recognition they deserve for it. Like that night on the Junos on the Sunday, they were handing out the best children's instrumental.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that.
Who won?
I have no clue, but that's the kind of thing that was going on.
That's mod.
You know what I mean? And you know, obviously the country musics and the rock and the pop and they were all getting their flowers and, you know, the best children's instrumentalists and everybody else. But like
Crazy.
the thing that was taking control of the country and by storm, which was hip hop, R&B, and urban music, they were just like, it was like they were trying to just stop the wave.
They diss you guys for Pokeroo, fam.
You know
That's
what I'm
rude.
saying?
Wow. That's mad.
Pokeroo might have to be on the thumbnail again this week, fam. Oh, no.
So the next year now, so it became just a thing in the media. It kind of forced their hand because it wasn't a thing where they could deny it because it was facts.
Yeah.
So the next year they asked us if we wanted to perform.
Perform.
They've never had no hip hop artists ever perform on the Junos before.
They had to tuck their tail.
Maestro performed.
The-
I think Dream
No,
Warriors.
not before then. No hip hop artists performed before then.
Really, eh?
None. No.
Check.
So the thing that made that even dope was that year when we put out our album, we had a track named Northern Touch, and it had MCs from like across Canada, from the west to the east.
Mm-hmm.
So when they asked us to perform, that kind of made it seem like it wasn't a thing where these little brats are being whiny about, oh, they didn't get to go on stage, so they're not accepting this. And now the Junos said, okay, Rascalz, you can perform. It's kind of how I would have felt it would have looked if it was, okay, we'll let you perform this year, and it was just a Rascalz thing. But
Yeah.
because the next year, the tune was an array of MCs from across the country,
Yeah.
it made it even doper because now it wasn't about us. It was about hip hop. Because when we took the stage, we didn't take the stage as Rascalz. We took the stage as the Northern Touch All-Stars with Thrust and Cardinal and Chocolate and Rascalz and Checkmate and you know what I mean?
I
So-
remember they gave y'all that name, the Northerns, or you guys gave yourself that name, the Northern Touch All-Stars.
Yeah. We came up with that, but that made it like you were championing for hip hop, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You weren't out there riding for your crew and yourself, and
Or
being
you're
selfish.
just your city, it's the whole country.
It's the whole country. It wasn't just
Yeah.
for Van or Rascalz or whatever. So that is what made it super dope.
Mhm.
And from that point on, so to answer your question, if I mess with the Junos, I actually mess with them because, you know, you asked for something and they were able to take a look inside and say, okay, yeah, we were wrong. Let's fix it.
Mhm.
Get right. And, you know, since then, like when I was sitting and watching Drake host the Junos, I felt proud. I was like, yo, I helped make that moment happen.
Facts.
Drake made that happen on his own because he blew up and became the artist that he is, yes. But you know, there's a little bit of us turning down the Junos and making hip hop, you know, bringing the spotlight on the injustices and where hip hop was and how it was being treated. That helped to make that moment happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think eventually, if we never turned down the hip hop, I mean the Juno Awards, Drake being Drake, but it still ended up becoming, I mean, hosting the Junos and doing that stuff. It just would have happened at a slower pace, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or he might have ended up turning it down when it came to his turn too.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because somebody else didn't take the step before to be like, listen, you guys need to make some changes.
Yes.
So you guys took that step so other man didn't have to do it when their turn came along.
Right.
Facts.
So seeing guys like Russell Peters host and Drake host, like, you know, you ask for something and you can see people trying, not necessarily to appease, but to make change.
Yeah.
And to include. So, you know, and, you know, just a couple of Junos ago, they were celebrating us. They had us come back on.
I remember that.
And perform Northern Touch. And, you know, they were asking, how can we, they were asking after the Junos, if we could sit down and what else can we do to help, you know, bring the fold into, you know, the situation and make it even a bigger and more inclusive for everybody. So there's to this day they're still trying because they're still asking, like, you know, opinions and what do you think?
I think they're trying because they got Pressa in there this year,
Pressa.
man. So you know that's good that they got nominated. So you know at least they're looking at some of the more. I know we get an argument if he's underground or not, but like at least they're looking at some of the more guys that are not getting those big attentions and putting them in the mix. That, you know, this could bring, even if he doesn't win, the fact that he gets nominated gets people to see, like, you know.
And not only that, behind the scenes on their board of people who actually get to choose who's getting nominated or not, they've added, you know, people from our community onto those boards, and that's how guys like Pressa, they're in the know because most of these cats, they're up in their boardroom somewhere.
Fact.
Yeah.
They wouldn't know
They're
Pressa
completely out of
until
touch.
Pressa gets onto their radar.
Yeah.
You know, so but them bringing up people from our community to be like, okay, help us out with this. Then they'd be like, yep, that Pressa guy. Yep, that Killy guy. Yep, that Northside Benji guy. Yep, that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And Killy was there too.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. So I forget who they actually have on the board, but I think it's
The higher up.
I think it's Click.
Oh, salute to Click.
It's somebody. It's like it's somebody
Kyle's on there too.
who
Kyle Kraft.
yeah, Kyle.
Salute to Kyle also.
Kyle's
Yeah,
on there.
yeah.
You know, so and Kyle works with Swollen Members and a bunch of other groups.
Yeah, from time.
So we definitely have our representatives in there for sure.
You just named some names. Who else are you listening to out here, man?
No, man. I'm not from Toronto, so I don't get caught up in the politics. I just
Shoot it, you know,
I listen to everybody.
But it's not even a politics thing, fam. Like, we have our favorites out here and people, but like, I know there's a couple of artists that probably grab your attention and you'd be like, yo.
You know what? I like to see the young guns doing their thing. And I like to see, you know, I like to see all of them. I like to see just, it makes me feel like, yo, man, you know, you didn't, sweet. Let me kill this.
You got that alarm ready.
Yeah, it's like, you know, it's like a baton race, and people pass the baton to you. You pass the baton on to people, and the race keeps going, and they pass it on. And to sit back today, and the number one artist in the world is from Canada. The number one rapper from the world is from Canada. The number one R&B cat in the world is from Canada. The number one pop artist in the world is from Canada. And we're coming from a day where in our time it was like, yeah, he's dope. He's like my favorite Canadian rapper. Or he's dope for Canada. Or he like, now it's just, yeah, that's my favorite artist. Or that's my favorite, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily, I try to listen to everybody because I come from the time where you were fighting for that. Just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We were probably one of the first groups to get played on BET. You know
I was
what
just
mean?
gonna say that. You guys are the 106. How does it feel like when you guys were the first artists to be on BET like that? Like, was it a big deal for you guys? Or was it like,
Bro, sometimes I would wake up and I would lay in my bed and I'd start laughing because I felt like we pulled it.
We pulled it off.
Not we pulled it off. Like it's like we're fooling everybody.
You
It was
pulled a
like,
fast
you know,
one.
we pulled a fast one. Like, how is this happening? What the fuck? What's going on right now? Like,
Movie Star was first, right? And then
no,
you
I
did
think it
Cross
was
the Border.
Northern Touch was first.
Oh, Northern Touch was on BT.
Oh,
Yeah.
Northern Touch was on
Oh,
BT
cool.
first.
No, I didn't even know that.
So I'd wake up and I'd be watching BT or much, and the videos would come on, and I'd sit there and I'm just like, is this really happening? And I'd sit there and I'd giggle for a minute because it felt like you really were pulling a fast one.
Homies
you
are
know,
calling,
You can't believe.
homies
like,
are calling you on the house phone. Like, yo, they're calling you on the house phone. Like,
No. We ain't going that far back. I still have my cell phone back then.
Oh yeah, the big one, the big
block.
ones.
Or the Star Chat.
Star Attack. You know what it's called though? It's like a thing. It's like a lot of creatives get. It's called imposter syndrome, I think.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah, where like you don't believe that you deserve to be getting all of this fucking like accolades and shit, but like you really do. You know what I'm saying? You're like,
No,
holy
like
fuck.
then definitely I had imposter syndrome.
You're like, holy fuck, is this
100%.
me? Oh, no,
Because
man, like, are they
there
cheering
was-
for me like this? Like,
I couldn't it took a long time to really like it sink in. Like, yeah, a long time I was just like, what is happening? I can't believe this is going on. Like, unreal.
yeah, it's like a self-sabotaging thing that people get in their mind. They're like, no, this can't be me. They must have. Somebody's gonna find out. Like, but like, no, it's really you that's coming up with the bars. You know what I mean? You're coming up with the beats. Like,
Yeah.
y'all are really fucking. Y'all really did it. You know what I'm saying?
People tell you, yo, that's so dope. That's so. You're just like, yo, this guy's messing with me, man. Like, you know.
Yeah.
And I think also a part of it, and I don't know if you can be humble and say you're humble. I don't know how that works, but we were just always just some humble cats, man, and really appreciative for like everything that kind of happened for us. 'Cause,
Yeah.
you know, like I remember the first time Maestro Fresh came to my school, and like he was on tour, and the tour bus stopped by my school, and it was just like, wow, I can't believe that. And that moment actually did a lot for me because him being from Canada and just watching him on TV all the time and actually seeing him in front of me, it actually made it real. Like you can do this. Like it made it real for me. And I remember we went to the show, and after the show, then we buy the DJ's mixer, LTD's mixer, after the show. And like just that situation of just having somebody from your community, your country, somebody like that you've been watching and you've seen them doing it, and then they're in front of you, and it makes it real, and it makes it like, yo, wow,
You can do it too.
you can do this. I
Yeah.
can do this. Like this is a possibility. So you know,
Yeah. There's a list of different features and different tunes that you guys have done that have been super historic. I want to get into the first one with Barrington Levy, right? Like you have a couple with Barrington Levy.
yeah.
There's the first one that y'all had with Chaos,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is at first when we thought Chaos was from Van City because he used to roll with y'all so heavy. So even
Right.
before we get to the Barrington Levy, let's do Chaos.
First off, don't say we, because I thought y'all niggas was from Toronto.
You
I'm
guys
not
are
even
from
gonna count.
Toronto?
I thought
Everybody
they
thought
were
we
from
were from
Toronto.
Toronto.
I don't know about
Wow.
anybody else, but I thought y'all was from Toronto from the longest time, fam.
So
So
but we Toronto adopted us, so we are from Toronto.
yeah,
too.
there you go. I'm
You know what
cool with
saying?
that shit.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, like
How'd you guys link with Chaos? Like, because you guys had like a close knit for a while.
How do you link with Barrington?
so,
Yeah.
again, so with Chaos back in the day, we'd come out here and all these artists, like we'd start doing the shows because at the time, you know, we were just kind of getting the baton from like Dream Warriors and those guys.
Mhm.
So we were like the fresh young cats on the scene. So all the artists would come out to the shows. You know, the Ghetto Concepts, the Cardis. Back then it was the Circle.
Mhm.
The Chaoses, and you know the Ghetto Concepts, and so we just, you know, after the show we'd hang out, we'd talk to people, and you know we just started really becoming cool with like the Circle guys and like Card. We were actually cool with everybody, Ghetto, and you know Kevin Chaos.
Mhm.
He was super dope. Like back then, like all this singing and Champagne Papi will tell you this. Chaos is the act, because I heard you guys talking about this earlier about now how music, it's like in a space where like you don't if you're singing or rapping or whatever. And then while you were saying that, I'm thinking in my head, you know why? A lot of people are gonna say Drake made that happen. But Drake will tell you Chaos made that happen. Socrates will tell you Chaos made that happen.
Holy fuck. Hold on. Air horn's coming.
So Chaos is this guy, like, he would just have these crazy melodies and then bust these crazy raps. And back then, nobody was doing that. I never heard that before. So like, I was really geeked out on him. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, so, you know, every time we'd come out, we'd just stay in contact and they'd come out to the shows. And, you know, then he became like our brother. And like, and he came out to Van.
Well, Saul eventually started managing.
Yeah. So I was about to say we started our own label because back at this time, that's what everybody like Wu-Tang and all these other cats was just coming with their own label thing.
Master P.
So we're like, yo, we got to start our own label. And so we, at first, it was called Figure 4, and we would just sign cats as managers first and, you know, try to get them signed direct or put some stuff out through our own Figure 4. And so the first 2 artists that we signed was Chaos and Cardinal.
History.
So that's how, you know, that's what was going on around the Northern Touch time. So around that time, that's how, you know, Chaos ended up on Really Living. Top of the World.
Top of the World.
And Cardi ended up on Northern Touch. At the time we did Northern Touch, the only people in that video that had record deals were the Rascalz. That song, all of those artists were already on the map in the streets. All of those artists without that song would have eventually gotten record deals. And eventually did their thing. That song kind of just put it on highlight for the people in the positions, the gatekeepers and the executives that, yo, Rascalz is getting all this traction and all this whatever, and there's a bunch of other guys out there too, just as dope, if not doper, who wide open.
This N-word being humble, guys. That song helped all them guys a lot.
Everybody got a deal from it.
No offense to anybody on that song. That song helped all those guys. Don't get it twisted, bro.
So even when we did Top of the World, Chaos didn't have a deal at that time.
Helped him a lot.
And so how that song came about was, so we went down to back then they used to have this, what are they, summits? Or what they used to call them? Summits? Hip hop summits all throughout the States and stuff like that. We went there, and you know, you'd get swag and CDs and all this other stuff. And you know, that's where you go meet artists or try to do showcases for execs in the States and all that other stuff. So we went down there. And then we came home, and one of my favorites, Barrington song was always, Indiana's calling.
And I'm gonna be there.
So I had rewritten that whole song in my head and had the song. And on our way back up, we were getting ready to work on a new album. Was at home one night because this guy would always be digging through CDs and records. You know, you started picking up some of those habits. So I was just clicking through a CD and I heard that boom, 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 like the beginning.
Yeah.
So we found that sample. I made a little whack beat, played it for Kemo. It's like, yo, this is trash. The sample is dope, but I'm gonna remake it. And so we made the beat. And then I started singing the Indiana Wants Me song that I had in my head, and it fit perfect. So this. Chaos isn't on the song at this time. It was just, we had the hook, and I think we wrote a couple verses for it. And so Saul, our manager, was like, yo, this is dope. Everyone was like, yo, this is dope. So we're like...
And sorry, salute to Saul Guy, by the way. Legend.
AKA the genius. So we're like, yo, Kemo I was singing the hook. Kemo was climbing me like, yo, we got to find somebody to sing the hook. Red Sox. Can't sing this hook. Can't sing. So I'm like, Okay, cool. So we're like, who are we gonna get? And we're thinking. Saul G goes, why don't we just get the original guy? And we're thinking, ooh, Barrington? How are you gonna get Barrington Levy to sing this song? So, not realizing at the time we're actually signed to a major label. So
Just ask him.
just made a call to the label. Was like, yo, we need Barrington for this song. The label did their thing, whatever. I remember it was like yesterday.
Hold on, Red. Because you guys were young. You guys were just not realizing all the shit you just have in front of you, your resources. We're signed. Hey.
It literally was that easy. Like we were just like, why don't we get the real guy? And we're like, how are we gonna do that?
We're signed.
Oh, the label.
So Jesus made the call to the label, was like, yo, we need Barrington Levy. You know,
The label's probably like, yes.
Yeah. Why
so
not?
he comes up here. That day we're rolling around with him all day. All these DJs knew he was coming, so they had hollered and said they want dub plates. So the first part of the day, we're just following him around to studios, and he's just making G's. And these guys are just like, I want Black Roses, I want Under Sensi, I want this, I want that. And
Wow.
they're just like, he probably left there with a wad. He probably left with like $15,000, maybe 20. I don't know.
So
He was like, wad. At the end
Hold
of
on,
the
sound
day,
effect.
he even gave us some money. So after running around with him all day and just watching him sing all these classics and dropping dub plates for all these sounds in Toronto, we're just like, yo, this is crazy. And Chaos was just with us that day. And
That's just wild.
so we go, no. Actually, at this point, Chaos was with us all the time. So before we went out Barrington, we put Chaos' first song. So then we go to the studio to do Barrington's verse. And honestly, if you ever listen to this song, it goes like this. At the top. So literally, this guy goes in the studio. So we go in, I do my thing, Chaos does it. We're just like, yo, I'm sitting next to Chaos. This guy goes in, smoking a cigarette. He says nothing. He just goes, because from the smoke goes, at the top. In New York, and just one time, yo, I just remember looking at Chaos and he's looking at me, and I swear it felt like the energy and just hearing this, it sounded like it was already mixed. It was crazy.
You're already listening to the record, basically.
one time.
It was already mixed and mastered.
It was you know when you smoke weed and you're just laughing and you can't stop laughing inside. It was just one of those. This was the first time I ever felt this feeling in the studio where before the song is done, just hearing him start, you know, oh, we got one.
That's the feeling of we got one.
You know what I'm saying? He started like, oh, because it was crazy. I've never been in another situation.
I recall
That's
after his
crazy.
take, I'm listening to it. I'm like, yo, there's some parts that are distorted. Could he do it again? And everybody's looking at me like, nah, fuck that.
Nah, it was like
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
One take,
There was some mild
cigarette in
distortion.
his hands, puffing away, doing this Barrington skank. Just like, I've never been in a session. I guess I would relate that to when people say they were in the studio with Jay and he just goes in and he hasn't written anything. He listens to the beat for a sec and he one take just lays down a whole verse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Being amazed like that. Because like if I was in the studio with Jay and he did that, I would be amazed. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
being able to witness Barrington lay it down like that was like, and to this day, I've never seen or felt that feeling or vibe in the studio ever.
Well, that's classic shit, man. One of your ones that you would probably like, because I know you're a fan of the WWE and the WWF.
Oh, with Bret Hart. How was that?
The best there ever was, the best there ever will be.
Yeah. So back then, you know, that wrestling was at its height. You know,
course.
Shockler's in on
Monday Night Raw watching.
Monday
in the
Night
Sky
Raw.
Dome with Daddy
Yeah.
Yo, Monday Night Raw watching. You know what I mean? Like everybody was into wrestling back then.
Of course.
And I was into wrestling. Not even back then. I was into wrestling from even before that. Like I used to watch Stampede Wrestling when it was like the Hart,
The Calgary shit.
the Calgary
yeah.
shit, when it was like the Hart Foundation.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
You still watch it now?
A little here and there. Like it's it's gone so far and beyond what it was when I watched it.
Facts.
So if I watch it now, like I'm confused.
You gotta
Like,
talk to Gutsy.
I'll
He'll
tap
catch
you in, fam. I'll tap you in no
You know
time.
what
I'll
I'm
keep you.
saying?
I'll keep you in no time.
but I do watch it a little bit here and there. There's 5 different shows.
Yeah, AEW, New Japan, Impact Wrestling, ROH.
No, but WWE is like there's Nitro. There's
No. WWE just got Raw, SmackDown, and NXT.
So what's
This
Nitro?
list like this.
Nitro, there ain't no Nitro no more, nigga.
See, so I know they have all these different. When I watched it was just
dying.
WWE. You know what I'm saying? And they had the other competing.
But that was Nitro, WCW.
WCW.
They had
okay,
Nitro.
Okay, my bad.
Okay, but how did you beat this guy?
Let's get that.
Was it a label call or was it like,
yeah,
yo?
so the label I think was putting out a documentary that he had, and they're like, "Yo, we want to cross brand. We want to make a song like to help boost the documentary."
This guy's memory is a little off.
It is. That's how I remember it.
So our booking agent was a company named Sam Feldman, and Sam
Bro,
Feldman.
you're throwing some big names out here, Red1. Holy fuck, bro. Jesus
And
Christ.
Sam Feldman, they represent actors, musicians, artists. So Bret Hart, they also represented Bret Hart. So they were doing the documentary, not our label.
Oh, okay.
But us being at the time the biggest hip hop act on the Feldman company, they were like, yo, we're doing this documentary for Bret. We'd love for you guys to do something for the doc, submit something, see what it's like. And me being a wrestling fan, I think we were all wrestling fans back then. We were just like, yeah, that was a no-brainer. So we did that record. We probably did like 3 versions, and they picked that one because it was like a more rocked out version. There was a couple versions we did. So what happened was they were supposed to, that documentary was going to have its, because back then movies and docs had their own soundtracks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this was going to be the soundtrack for
The documentary.
Lo and behold, we shoot the doc, we shoot the video, and here it is. And to this day, I still, it's one of my regrets, even though I love that song. So we were supposed to put that out around the time our new album was coming. Our first single for that album was supposed to be Gunfinger.
No,
Yes.
I remember Lisa saying.
No. What happened was, after we shot that video, the president of the label was like, well, since the video looks good and the song's already out there, we're just going to use that also as your first single. Top of the World was going to be our second single. Gunfinger was going to be our first single. So one of my favorite songs that we ever did that most people probably wouldn't know was going to be got cut, not from our album, but cut from being our
music
first single.
video.
Because we just shot a video for a documentary that was coming out at the same time our album was coming out. They didn't want conflicting Rascalz material out there.
Yeah, they don't want one to run over the other.
But that had nothing to do with us. So I was just like, I remember fighting against this. And it came down to, oh, well, either do it or don't do it.
I recall Lisa saying, yo, I can't make a video for Gunfinger, like, because it had the word gun in it. And, like,
No,
it
but
was
we
that.
can't-
They didn't
no,
want to put the
They
money
didn't
behind
want
it.
to, but they were going to do it because at that point we were just like, yo, we're the musicians, we're the hip hop cats. We know what's going on the streets.
Yeah.
But then because of what he said, they really didn't want to do it because it had the word gun in it.
Gun
Not
finger.
knowing it was just a gun. That's a vibe that everybody.
They ain't getting that,
know?
Red.
They
Come
like,
on.
all right, cool. But then they made us shoot the video, get it out there. Then they were like, well, you already have the video out there. So we'll just call it like your first single and push it as the documentary.
Right.
And then we'll just come with the Barrington. I was really upset. I remember being really mad. But, and I felt like that didn't really hit and connect with the people. Like, because back then you really couldn't really be too gimmicky with you know what I'm saying? And I felt like that kind of came across as a gimmick.
And you guys should have been like in the ring. If it was like that.
We
like,
was in the ring.
No, like more like a tag team against them, against Bret Hart or something. You know what I'm saying? Like it should have been like
It was overproduced.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's right. It was
And
way
listen,
more
I keep it
overproduced.
real with you. I'm telling you, like I felt that kind of hit a little gimmicky,
Yeah,
and being known for guys who were just raw.
You guys are
Hip-hop
hip hop.
yeah.
Hip
it
hop.
I
was-
felt
it was
that
just like
that kind of didn't connect with the people like I wanted it to. So I was really mad that we allowed that to happen, but it kind of backdoored us in a sense, because I felt like if we were able to come with Gunfinger, and that was just a thing, because whatever, I'm a fan of wrestling. I like Bret Hart. I love the Hart
yeah, it was
Foundation.
cool, but it
It would have
just
just been a
Yeah.
novelty thing, and Gunfinger would have mashed
been
up
your
the street
single.
if it had a
Yeah.
video. Trust
It
me,
would have been
I'll tell
more
you.
Rascals.
And then you follow that up with
Top of the
Top of the World
Yo,
with Barrington
that,
Levy.
that album had KRS, Beat Nuts. That's where we should have spent the money, right? It's like, but the label, they wanted to.
And
push it
again,
over.
yeah,
yeah.
and that's
A quick question: you're signed to a label at that time. If you wanted, like, if you had the money yourself and just said, okay, well, fuck it, we're just gonna film the video, they will tell you no.
it's hard to say at that time, because you got to remember, at this time, there's no other group signed. There's like, we're kind of carrying that torch for
Canada,
rap groups, and
not even just Toronto.
The
just
business.
Canada.
You know what? We
and-
could have shot the video for sure, but would they have
promoted it.
would
and-
they have walked across the street to Much Music and said, "Yo, push this"? Right?
Yeah.
No.
remember, it was
maybe,
like,
possibly.
it was a machine. Your label, radio,
Mhm.
Much Music, they all worked hand in hand.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, fact.
you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
Yeah.
Like they had a day where you would bring a video to Much. A crew of people would sit down, watch the video, and they'd label it either the big one, meaning you're getting played 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times a day. Did heavy rotation, medium rotation, or light rotation.
Wow.
So labels had to, and remember, we were on Sony BMG, where there was Universal, there was Warner, there was a lot more labels then. So
Yeah. This is before everybody
Sony
merged.
wasn't BMG yet.
yeah, Sony actually wasn't even BMG.
Yeah,
we were
there
signed
was
to
Sony
BMG.
and it was
There was
BMG.
Sony and BMG. So, like, and every week they're walking in with their artist, like records
Pop and rock. Shit.
and pop and rock shit. And they're trying, there's only one, the big one.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And you can only have so many videos that have heavy rotation, medium rotation. So you had to kind of play this dance and kind of balance how like what you wanted to do and how things were set before you were there.
Yeah.
You had to kind of be, you know what I mean?
play
And
industry
we
games.
did a good job of shaking things up as much as we can and shaking things up a little bit, but we still, there was a bit of walking that fine line.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So let me ask y'all even on features, right? And this is the last I'm gonna ask about features. Born Jamaicans, okay? Yeah, that song Crazy World. Dope fucking tune. A lot of people slept on that group, Born Jamaicans. They were fucking fire.
They fully slept on
You
them.
know what I'm saying?
But Notch came back with a bad one. Nothing to go so. And if it was
Yeah.
tell them it's nothing
Yeah.
to go.
That's a fucking big tune. That's a big fucking tune.
Yeah.
But your brother was on that tune, no? Rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? Tell me what Cezanne meant to you guys, the group, and obviously to you, Kemo. You know what I'm saying? Because that tune, I remember when it came out, that verse was on it. The verse was fire, but he was already had passed by the time the video dropped.
That was like a little tribute.
Well, yeah, like because at the time he passed away right when we kind of started recording the album, and that shit hit obviously me heavy, and you know, the team had my back, and they're like, "Yo, man, do you want to take time to just kind of like to mourn or whatever?" I was like, "Nah, man, I gotta work," and so we just went head in, and that was a verse from another tune that he did on another record with this other producer homie of mine. And I just like, "Yo, can we slide this in?" And they were like, "Fuck yeah, of course." Right. So then, and then the Notch came to record, and he did a hook on another tune
Okay.
on Warrior. But then I played him that beat, and he's like, "Yo, this is bananas. Let me write. Let me write." And he starts writing something. And he just fucking, that's why he's talking about the border and all that shit, because he had drama crossing the border. Like they were harassing him, like they held him up for hours. So he was just writing about that. And then we added my brother's verse from another tune just out of respect. You know what I'm saying?
And it fit in nice.
Well, not only out of respect, because that song was one of those cats that was like, the next, like him
But
and Concise. And
we had him on the album before. He was on a tune called Borderline.
yeah, like you know when
From the album before.
you got the young guns that are coming up, and you know, yo, these are the next guys.
Yeah.
Cezanne was one of those guys. Like, you know what I mean? There's a handful of cats that were like, you could easily tell they were coming up next because like they was coming with it.
Yeah.
So Cezanne was definitely amongst those.
Yeah, he was there from the get-go, from like the first few years that we were in my basement building on Rascalz stuff. He was there.
He was always there.
He was there in his pajamas just watching us and shit, you know. So,
Because literally Kemo and his brothers, they would like stay up late, you know, Yo MTV Raps and all that stuff. Back then you could film that stuff, but when it showed in Canada, it was like 1, 2, 3 in the morning. He was in high school, grades 8 and 9. So his older brother had
my older brother had tapes. Bro, like,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way like, and so we would just go to Kemo's house and sit there and just watch these tapes and these videos. And Kemo would have his little technique set up, and he'd be doing his little scratching while we're watching videos.
Yeah.
And he had this Korg keyboard and probably sampled for like 5 seconds.
it was a Casio.
A Casio. And he would start making beats, and the samples would be like for 5 seconds, and then adding break beats to them and doing all this. So his basement is really the birth of the Rascalz and how it all actually started.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And his older brother and his younger brother were always, his younger brother was always there. His older brother was not there because we'd have to sneak in his room to steal the tapes, and he'd always come home and be mad that Kemo went to his room to grab his tapes. But like, yeah, his brothers definitely played a integral part of us becoming who we became.
Yeah.
Because they supplied the visual.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And you know, last couple of questions I have here, because I feel like we've gotten a lot of information, because you guys have a lot of interviews, but you guys do a lot of radio station interviews. So it's like in and out quick.
Right.
You know
They
what I'm saying?
don't get what you're getting.
Yeah.
Most of the interviews don't really get that intricate.
Yeah. So even to get a little bit more intricate, because Misfit, he was here for the show. We were watching, amazing fucking show. And I was like, yo, Misfit. Holy fuck, I don't see this guy. But he was more, I've always seen him as the more recluse member of the group, right? I don't want y'all to speak for him, but just, you know, if you could just a bit, can we know why that is?
The name alone tells you it's not what you've always seen. In our crew, when we were picking names, the name that fit him was Misfit. So you don't even have to explain that. But he's always just been that guy. He's always just been like, you know, super quiet and really laid back and, you know, just riding with you, but right along with you on his own path.
Yeah.
You know,
he's in the corner reading books and stuff, like wearing the kung fu shoes. He's a different youth.
No, but in
I
a
can
good way,
see
like
that still, yeah.
Yeah, you see it in him.
he, you know, meditate, really into martial arts,
Yeah,
books.
He was disciplined at one
He's very-
point. Very disciplined, like with
disciplined
his
guy.
diet, his training. Like he's a different guy.
Yeah.
And that's cool because I felt like it gave us that mystique, and it gave us kind of like how Wu-Tang came and it was just like Avengers. It was just what character is
Different
your guy.
styles, yeah.
That me being me, Misfit being Misfit, Kemo being Kemo, we kind of, and our dancer, that kind of vibe where it was a crew and every character was unique within that crew. You know what I mean? Like whether it's Avengers or
Justice League
or
X-Men.
you know what I'm saying? It wasn't Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but it's like, you know,
He's such a kid.
he's facts. No,
It's
you want to know what?
fam.
He's saying what I was thinking, but couldn't.
Yeah,
It wasn't
it's
coming
like-
out. It wasn't coming out, but he's just like, I got you.
I got you like Misfit got you. You know, it's my own way.
This guy's doing the ad-libs and shit.
Yo.
I'm dead. Okay,
yeah.
last thing, because you, as the game, you know, started evolving and you guys started to get into more legacy group and stuff like that, you started transitioning into other businesses, all right? And I don't know if you're okay with us talking about this,
It is what it is, you know what I'm saying?
because you started like getting into the cannabis business, and I'm hearing about this like over here, like, yo, you don't know Red1, he's got mad fucking spots.
Oh, yeah.
The guy. Like, how
Yo,
did
I'm
that
from Van
happen?
City, so before T-Dot even had dispensaries like out in Vancouver, like there's probably dispensaries in the early 90s, like, you know what I'm saying? You know, guys like Mark Emery and
Oh, big up Mark.
like this whole, even the whole coalition of how, you know, medicinal cannabis became legalized. Became legalized for you to get to grow and have, before it was recreational, to grow and to have your cannabis for your medical purposes. That was all done out in Vancouver. Like, you know what I mean? Like all those activists and all that stuff, like that's like a normal part of life in Vancouver. So like, you know, me smoking a lot of weed back in the day, I was always just kind of, and being, you know, the Van City hip hop group.
Yeah.
I was always plugged into the Cannabis guys because they'd be at the shows, or they always just was like showing up with like, yo man, love the shit, hold this.
Bear free weed.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, them putting me on to game and like, yo, you should, Red, you need your own shop, you know? Like, so we started off.
And not to interrupt you gotta remember, I'm hearing about this pre-social media, fam. I've been hearing about this back in the days. Oh, Red1, he's the guy out there. I'm like, yo, I gotta go to Van City, fam. I wanna link up with this guy.
Yo, trust me. So, you know, we just got into cannabis, the dispensary game early. And even out here is like, you know, a lot of the stores that started opening up in Toronto were guys from Vancouver coming out to Toronto, opening stores. And then people in Toronto being like, yo, I'm going to do one too. That they got one, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And,
Why not?
And not to say, but, you know, that's one thing I always loved about Vancouver. Like, as far as that's concerned, they were always kind of ahead of the curve. And, you know, they were always willing to take the risks of putting themselves on the front line.
Yeah.
So that we all now where we are today, benefiting from this. A lot of that was on the back of cats from Vancouver. You know what I'm saying? Activists and growers and people in vans. So I feel really privileged to be able to,
You're a pioneer, fam.
be part. I wouldn't even say I was a pioneer because there was cats, they come from the 70s and the 80s and whatever. But as far as the, you know, the dispensary game and stuff goes, like being able to be there and being able to help fund some of the court cases of, you know, the people that were, you know, taking the government to task, and the Canadian Bill of Rights to have their medicine legally and stuff like that. Like, I just feel honored to even just be able to like say, I know some of those guys, or I was around some of those guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely was in the game early when it comes to that kind of stuff. So
Okay.
yeah. But now it's ran by a bunch of guys who like, you know, or like stock traders or Bay Street guys, or owned a bunch of restaurants, and you know, and so it kind of sucks to be able to see the legacy cats not really being the guys really benefiting from what's going on in the recreational side of things. So, you know, with that, actually, today's 420. I want to wish everybody a happy 420.
420, happy 420, man.
You know?
Yeah, man.
But yeah, shout out to all the OGs from Van City, you know, that helped make today a reality where we can, you know, sit here today and weed is free and legal, and Canada was one of the first countries in the world to, you know, legalize marijuana on a recreational level. So, you know,
at the whole country.
Yeah, like I said again, I feel honored to be able to watch that process happen and even help out a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. The Rascalz in the motherfucking building. Red1 DJ Kemo. I'm gonna hold y'all for just a couple more minutes. I have a quick segment here, or we have a quick segment here called Smoke and Mirrors, right? Glad y'all made it to the end of this video. And if you like this video right here, we got a couple more for y'all to choose from right here. And make sure to like and subscribe, okay? And make sure to share this video to a friend, and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend that the We Love Hip Hop Network is the leading network in Canada. Cheer!